Good afternoon, everybody. It is Steve Lookner with Agenda Free TV. We're going to do a kind of a shorter stream for this stream because, as many of you know, I am in Chicago for a work conference, the Online News Association conference. There is something I need to go to, I'd like to go to this afternoon. So we're going to do a couple hours here and then I'll go to that, and we may have some more coverage after that this evening. I'd like to do some this evening. But I figured we'd come on for a bit now and get you updated and take some of your comments on the air. And right as I was getting on the air, of course, something messed up. So I need to somehow I'm fixing this on the fly here. So if you give me 2 seconds here, let's see if I can get this fixed. As crazy as this looks. Okay, maybe this can work. We'll see. Until we get it. It's always something. It's always something. It didn't work. Let's try this one more time. When I stream and I'm not streaming from my home studio, it's just one thing after another. Oh. All right, let's see. It's one thing after another. All right, I think I finally fixed it. That's the reason you're not seeing the video yet. You'll see the video in a second. I had everything set up, and then, of course, something stopped working. Okay, give me a second. I will get the video on. There are some power outages reported in Iran after U.S. and Israeli strikes, so we will talk about that. Hang on a moment here. All right. I had everything all set up, and then, of course, right as the broadcast starts, we have an issue with the video. So I have to reset everything and do it again. Can I at least get one video up there for you? Let's see. Nope. Let's try this again. Okay, good. That's good. That's looking promising. Oh, we need the time, though. We need the time. We need the clock. Let's see. I think we have the clock here. Okay. I think we're just about back in business. I hope. All right, let's see if this works. So if I do this and I refresh this, you should see something in a moment. Maybe. There you go. Okay, there's Beirut. Now we got to get Tel Aviv on the screen for you. I see Tel Aviv. Is this going to work? Let's see. There's Tel Aviv. Good. We want the audio from Beirut. Okay, great. And then I'd like to be able to see the chat. Got to do that too. Sorry about this. It's always something. Then we will talk about these power outages. All right, now I can see the chat. Hey, by the way, it's really nice of you. Thomas P0419 gave 20 people memberships. Thomas has been giving so many memberships from Sweden. That's so nice of you, Thomas. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Now, let's see here. I was going to give you an update on these power outages in Iran. I was going to check state media. I know Faytux News and OSIN Technical had posted about this. Where is state media in Iran? Here it is. Right there. Here it is. Look. Fars News, state media. I'm going to show you. I'm going to put it on the screen. So first they said, now why is this all messed up? I have no idea why this is going on and off. Absolutely none. Absolutely none. Makes no sense. Makes absolutely no sense. Let's try this one more time. No idea what that's doing that. Let's try it one more time. See if it works. Okay. Following the attacks on Tehran, areas of Tehran are currently experiencing power outages. That was posted about a half hour ago. Then about 20 minutes ago, they said, the reason for the power outage in several areas of Tehran and Karaj has been determined. This is what the government says. The government says shrapnel hit and damaged a high voltage tower in Al-Borz province, as well as the Dushan Tepe station, causing power outages in several parts of Tehran and Karaj. The electricity industry's operational forces have now been dispatched to the affected areas and are working to restore power as soon as possible. That's from state media in Iran. All right, so that's happening. Again, and a lot of airstrikes being reported overnight in Iran. Let's see here. Thank you to all of our moderators, by the way. We have Beth Mythical is moderating right now. Thank you, Beth. Ruth is moderating. Thank you. Roberts May Queen, thank you for moderating. Also, thanks to Idaho Star and Matthew Kohai 3 who are moderating. Also, shout out to Christina Nash for your support on Twitch. And also, the King of Wit. Thanks for giving out 5 gift subs on Twitch, King of Wit. That's really nice of you. The King of Wit, thank you. Also, Dragon Fury for subscribing. Thanks, Meat Missile, for the gift sub. Wow, a lot of gift subs. Gonzalez. Thanks for the 5 gift subs, Gonzalez, on Twitch. So nice of you. Also, thanks to our moderators on X, Linda Belk, Larry, and Misha, and our Facebook moderators. Thank you to them. Kay Lowry Body is moderating over there. Margaret Riley, Andrea Holder, thank you. Yeah, I can't confirm the state media report, if that's really the reason for the blackouts or not. I don't know. Thanks also Joshua Randall Wilson Turner for the Facebook stars. All right, let's get you some more updates here. I just don't want to make sure I'm not missing something right this second, but we'll get you updated. I saw a couple things since we last were on the air last night. So one thing I saw was this. This is from the Kuwaiti Army. This was posted this morning. They said the Kuwaiti Armed Forces monitored during the past 24 hours a total of 14 hostile ballistic missiles and 12 hostile drones within Kuwaiti airspace. As a result, one of the camps affiliated with the Kuwaiti armed forces was targeted by several missiles or drones, leading to 10 people injured from the armed forces and also damage at the site. So a Kuwaiti army camp was attacked by Iran, and there were 10 people injured and damaged at the site. Also, warehouses of one of the private logistics companies were targeted, resulting in material damage with no recorded human injuries. Oh, is there some sort of alert? Hold on a second here. There's no missile alert. Oh, about 3 minutes ago, there was a drone alert in there's a drone alert in northern Israel. A drone alert right now. By the way, thank you to Eliza Jane for the memberships. I appreciate that, Eliza Jane. You know, with Kuwait, I don't know. I mean, that's, if you look at the numbers, they said that Iran fired 14 missiles and 12 drones. And from those 14 missiles and 12 drones, they hit 2 sites. They hit an army camp and a warehouse. I'd be interested in knowing what the shoot down rate is for the Kuwait, for Kuwait, for the army, for the missiles and drones. Okay, so I saw that, and then there was also, let's see. There was a missile that hit in southern Israel and caused a fire. You can see here Manny Fabian had posted that the IDF Home Front Command issued a warning to civilians. This was this morning. Issued a warning to civilians near the Neot Hovav industrial zone south of Beersheba to remain indoors due to concerns of a hazardous missile leak following Iran's ballistic missile attack on the area. According to the IDF, the ballistic missile did not directly hit the industrial zone, but rather a fragment likely struck a facility there, sparking a large fire. Home Front Command search and rescue forces were dispatched to the scene and are operating alongside rescue services to extinguish the blaze, the Army adds. So that happened. By the way, quick thank you to... Hey, Thomas P0419 gave more memberships. That's really nice of you, Thomas. Thank you, Thomas P0419 from Sweden. More memberships from Thomas, 10 more memberships. Also, and then I think 5 more memberships. Thomas is giving a lot of memberships. Let me check some more reporting about the Israel Beersheba missile. Thank you, Thomas. I appreciate that. So Times of Israel says that, hold on, let me see if there's an update on this. He might have, one of our viewers mentioned this. Thanks to the viewer who mentioned this. And so Times of Israel said that there was a fire caused in a chemical plant in Beersheba. Iran missile attacks on South Israel lightly hurt 11 in Beersheba and cause a fire in a nearby chemical plant. Hang on. Yes, and Times of Israel said the Israeli Environmental Protection Ministry said there was no risk to the public. A missile fragment hit a chemical factory in southern Israel, sparking a fire. The factory manufactures things like insecticides, herbicides, and fungicides. The Environmental Protection Ministry said there was no concern found for a hazardous materials incident. Okay, so that happened while we were not on the air. Yes, as Phil says, at 6 Eastern, the oil market reopens. I probably won't be on for that. I'll explain why. Again, as I mentioned at the start of the broadcast, this is going to be a bit of a shorter stream than we normally do, because I am in Chicago for a work conference. I'm attending because of the channel. I think it'll be helpful for the channel, and there is an event today I would like to go to. So I decided to come on early, do a shorter stream, and then maybe later on, after the event, we can do more coverage. I'm open to that idea. So heads up in advance. So yeah, I think at 6 Eastern, I will not be on the air. Quick thanks to Katie9291 for being a member. And thanks, Rune, for the memberships. I really appreciate it. Rune, thank you. Give me a moment. We'll get some more updates here. Here's an update. Oh, I have a video for you too I can play. That's nice. Some talks going on with countries in the region. You can see here, Iran accuses U.S. of ground assault plans as Pakistan hosts regional talks, says Reuters. Iran said it was ready to respond to any U.S. ground attack, accusing Washington of preparing a ground assault while seeking talks, as regional powers met in Pakistan Sunday to try to bring the two sides together. The initial discussions today in Pakistan were among Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Egypt, and I assume Pakistan, focused on proposals to reopen the Strait of Hormuz to shipping. More talks will be held Monday. But Pakistan and the U.S. are not at these talks. Reuters says Iran's effective blockade of oil and gas shipments through the strait since the U.S. and Israel began attacking the country on February 28th is spreading economic pain around the world. Food and energy security and supply chains were among issues discussed in Pakistan. Israel's military said it had launched in the last day over 140 airstrikes on central and western Iran, hitting ballistic missile launch sites and storage facilities. A chemical plant in southern Israel near Beersheba was hit by a missile or missile debris as Israel fended off multiple salvos from Iran. Hey, thanks to Sparky the Human for the memberships. Thanks, Sparky. And also Stuart Moore, thanks for being a member, Stuart. I appreciate that. By the way, the UAE, says Reuters, which has faced more Iranian missile and drone attacks than any other country, is seeking reparations from Iran for attacks on civilians and vital facilities and clear guarantees to prevent any repetition. Pakistan, one of our viewers says, Katie says, good luck. Pakistan has offered to host peace talks, but the United States and Iran have set out maximalist positions to end the warfare, complicating the path to a solution. Iran's parliament speaker, Mohammad Bagher Khalibaf, accused the U.S. of sending messages about possible negotiations, while at the same time planning to send in troops, adding that Tehran was ready to respond if U.S. soldiers were deployed. In a message to the nation, the Iran parliament speaker said, as long as the Americans seek Iran's surrender, our response is that we will never accept humiliation. As many of you know, Yemen's Iran-aligned Houthis joined the conflict on Saturday, launching their first attacks on Israel and raising the prospect they could target and thus block a second key shipping route, the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, which would be huge. Analysts say renewed attacks there would pile further pressure on the world economy. So that's going on. Let me show you a video. I think in the left back is the airport. That's not a fire. I think that's the Beirut airport you're looking at in the left side in the back of that Beirut shot. Let me show you this video. It's like a video update that Reuters posted today about what's going on. Give me a moment here. I'm going to put it on the screen right now. So if we do this there, hold on. Okay, you see this? Let's hit play on this. I will hit play on this. Here we go.
Iran said on Sunday that it was ready to respond to a ground attack. That's as it accused the US of preparing a land assault even as it sought negotiations. In a message to the nation, Iran's parliament speaker, Mohammad Bagher Khalibaf, said that as long as the Americans seek Iran's surrender, our response is that we will never accept humiliation. Washington has dispatched thousands of Marines to the Middle East. The first 2 contingents arrived on Friday, the US military said, aboard an amphibious assault ship. The Washington Post quoted US officials as saying the Pentagon was preparing for weeks of ground operations in Iran, though whether President Donald Trump would approve such a deployment remained uncertain. Meanwhile, talks were being held in Pakistan in a bid to end the fighting that has killed thousands of people and caused the biggest ever disruption to global energy supplies. That's after, on Saturday, Yemen's Iran-aligned Houthis launched their first attacks on Israel since the start of the conflict. Those strikes point to a potential new threat to global shipping. During the Gaza war, the Houthis hit ships in the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, a critical maritime choke point leading to the Suez Canal. Analysts say renewed attacks there would pile further pressure on the world economy. Iran has continued its attacks on Israel and several Gulf states, while Israel's military has also continued its relentless air assault on Iran. On Sunday, Israel said its forces had targeted Tehran's weapons manufacturing industry, including dozens of storage and production sites the day before. It also continued to hit targets in Lebanon as part of its campaign against Hezbollah. That included killing 3 Lebanese journalists in a strike on a media vehicle, Lebanon's El Manar TV reported, as well as a Lebanese soldier. Israel's military said one of the journalists had been part of a Hezbollah intelligence unit. Iran said on Sunday that it was ready to respond to a
All right, so a little update about the developments over the last day. One of our viewers said it's definitely Shoshan said it's definitely ramping up. Give me a moment here. Gotta do one quick thing. Oops, this I gotta fix. This I gotta fix. Okay. Cindy from Illinois says, can we believe what Iran has to say? Thanks. I think Thomas gave more memberships. Am I right about this? Thomas P0419. Thank you so much. Also, thanks to from Sweden, Dana, thanks for being a member. I think I thanked Sparky the Human before. Does Iran have one of our viewers claimed that Tehran has electricity back? I don't know that all of Tehran was without power. I'll check and see what's being reported. I turned off the volume for this camera. Sorry, didn't want to do that. Yes, Fars News, which is state media, said that it's Iranian state media. They said electricity has been restored to most areas of Tehran and Karaj. They said the electric industry's operational forces are still working to reconnect electricity to the remaining areas in the shortest possible time. The power grid of Tehran and Al Borz is stable, they say. So they say that they have restored most of the electricity to Tehran and Karaj after power outages after Israeli and U.S. airstrikes. Hang on a moment here. Hey, thanks also Karen Rowe. Karen Rowe, that's really nice of you. Thanks for your support of the channel, Karen Rowe. Let's see here. I have to keep an eye on this Artemis launch. Four astronauts are set to fly around the moon on the Artemis 2 test flight. It could be as soon as Wednesday. Well, we'll see what happens. I'd like to do coverage of it. We'll have to see how things... There may be some... I don't know if there's any conference stuff on that day. So, I'd like to do coverage. We'll see how it works out. Also, who knows what's going to be going on with this? We might end up doing double coverage. Oh, the IDF, I think, just said that... the IDF just posted 2 minutes ago that they are striking Iranian regime terror targets across Tehran. So more Iranian-Israeli airstrikes going on now in Iran. They just posted this. They just posted, the IDF, that they're doing more strikes in Tehran. I believe between the U.S. and Israel, there's been well over 20,000 strikes in Iran. Oh, I was going to check something. You know, the Speaker of the Iranian Parliament gave a message to the nation today. I think I can do a translation of it. Let me just check something here. Try to pull it up here. Where am I? What is going on? What is happening? Let me see. 4 pages long. I just want to see. I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's talking about how the people have stood together for 30 days during these attacks. All right, he mentioned that, the speaker. What else did he say here? The Speaker of the Iranian Parliament said today in his address to the nation, "The enemy imagined that after the war the society would be torn apart and stand against itself, but the great nation of Iran remained one body with 90 million souls, and contrary to the enemy's notion, remained more united than ever. Today," he says, "the artist, the athlete, the fighter, the worker, and the teacher all call out for Iran with one voice and flaunt their collective spirit before the face of the criminal enemy." The speaker also said, currently, the Speaker of Iranian Parliament, Kalibaf, told the country today, currently the war is at its most sensitive moments. An enemy who claimed his air, naval, and missile forces had destroyed us, and who had a plan for the collapse of the Islamic Republic, has now set as his goal the opening of the Strait of Hormuz. Opening a strait that was open before the war has now turned into Trump's operational dream. Trump is unable to bring European countries along with him. The energy market has spiraled out of control and food inflation is near, said the Speaker of Iranian Parliament, Kalibaf. I'll give you some more of his remarks today. He claims that the symbols of American grandeur, from F-35s to aircraft carriers and bases, have suffered great blows. I guess with the aircraft carrier, he's talking about the fire that reportedly started in the laundry room. He says, Hezbollah of Lebanon, which was constantly threatened with disarmament, is today an important and effective part of the resistance and has ensnared the sinister regime. He said the Houthis in Yemen have joined the resistance front and are prepared to create spectacular surprises. He said Trump is accused globally of starting a purposeless war and has no answer for public opinion. The evil of starting the war has returned to its instigator. The Iranian parliament speaker also said today, the enemy sends messages of negotiation and dialogue in public while secretly plotting for a ground invasion. I'll put this on the screen for you. This is, again, comments from the Iranian Speaker of Parliament today. The enemy sends messages of negotiation and dialogue in public while secretly plotting for a ground invasion. They are unaware that our men are waiting for the arrival of American ground troops to set their lives on fire and punish their regional partners forever. Our launches continue. Our missiles are steady. Our resolve and faith have increased. We are aware of the enemy's weaknesses and clearly observe the signs of terror and horror in the enemy's army. These days, he said, different words and speeches are heard from enemy officials regarding negotiations. America speaks of its desires and announces what it failed to achieve in war as a 15-point list and pursues them in diplomacy. As long as the Americans seek Iran's surrender, your children's answer to these American dreams is clear: away with humiliation. He says, we are certain we can punish America and make it regret so that it no longer craves an attack on Iran and our rightful rights are achieved with authority. And I think there's one more part of this speech today from the Iranian speaker in parliament. Garnett says it's just propaganda. You can see here's this last part of his speech to the nation today. Do not doubt for a moment the will of your soldiers and servants. Just skipping forward some. I assure you that by God's grace we will not exit this war except with victory. Signs of this conquest are becoming apparent. We will not end the war except with conquest, and we will not allow the enemies to exit the war without the consolidation of Iran's authority. We will turn this war into a great lesson for any aggressor. Let us maintain unity and cohesion. Let us give thanks for this courageous resistance and pray for our soldiers and fighters. God is the protector of Islamic Iran. Okay, so you can see the general idea of his remarks today. Thanks, by the way, to Yabba Dabba Doo for being a member, and also Sasha 4U81 for being a member. Sasha says we don't know anything of the U.S. strategic plans. That's what Sasha says. Again, one of the things that the Iranian parliament speaker said today was opening a strait that was open before the war has now turned into Trump's operational dream. We have an early warning in Israel. Now, I don't think I have a Jerusalem camera. Early warning for Jerusalem and Ashdod and some other areas there. Early missile warning. Give me a moment here. Excuse me. This is a launch from Iran, missile launch from Iran. And what cameras do I have? I don't think I have a Jerusalem one at the moment. No, I don't. But we'll keep an eye out on the alerts. Missile alerts right now. That was fast. We have missile alerts in and near Jerusalem. Oh, you can't see it. Now you can see it. There you go. We have missile alerts. Hey, Holy Earth, thanks for asking. I explained it in the note pinned in the YouTube chat. So we have a missile alert going on. More missile alerts in eastern central Israel. So we'll have to see what happens. Again, I don't have a camera in this area. Oh, you know what I didn't check is I don't have a camera. I'd like to see if Intel cams. I can't. I'm not gonna. I can't steal his cameras, but I want to keep an eye on those. He might have one from Jerusalem. Maybe some of you are watching it. Usually, I keep an eye on it here. Oopsie. Did anyone see anything on Intel cams? Hang on a moment here. Give me one moment. What happened here? I had something on to keep an eye on it, and now I can't see it anymore, so I have to refresh it. Give me a moment. Let me just do this. Then we'll check for some updates on this missile alert. All right, so you can see where the missile alerts are. A number of them are not there anymore, but some are still there. Near Sea of Galilee, near Hebron, in the West Bank. In the West Bank. Bunch of them in the West Bank. All right, I'm going to check in a second and see if we have any updates. Thanks to Boz, our member over there on YouTube. Thanks, Boz. Okay, let's see if I can find any updates about what's going on with those missile alerts from Israeli reporting. Gunfire in Beirut. I am looking for updates from Israel. I am seeing again, this was there were just some missile alerts, and I'm not sure what exactly happened, if we will have any missiles hitting or anything. Trying to find more information right now. I haven't seen updates from Israel yet. Thanks, Sherry LaSalle. Sherry LaSalle, Patriots Unite, for the memberships. That's very nice of you. Sherry LaSalle, thank you. I still have not seen any updates yet about the latest missiles in Israel. I'm looking. I'm looking. Al Jazeera reports sirens are sounding again in the Jordanian capital and other cities. Maybe other cities in Jordan? Maybe there's some sort of Iranian attack going on? I'm not sure. I wonder if the reporting about what happened with these missiles is a bit slower because it appears that maybe they were going to the West Bank. I'm not sure though. No, I don't have a Haifa cam today. Let's see. Let's see here. Nope. Still nothing. Faytuck's network claims that there was an interception moments ago. I don't know if that's true. Still have not seen any updates. Maybe it was intercepted. I don't know. I haven't seen any updates from the Israeli media on that last missile attack. Nothing yet. Did Manny Fabian post about it? Yes, Manny Fabian just said the latest Iranian ballistic missile was intercepted according to the IDF. Sirens had sounded in the Jerusalem area. There are no reports of injuries. Um, all right. We are bringing you the latest updates here. It is 10:22 p.m. Israel time. We're going to take some more comments. Oh, I wanted to maybe show you something here. The oil market will be reopening at 6 p.m. Eastern. 6 p.m. Eastern. To repeat, I probably will not be on the air at 6 p.m. Eastern because I have to go to a conference thing today. But maybe we'll do coverage when I return this evening. What is this? What is this? I just saw a post from the Iranian president. Here is a post from the Iranian president. From 20 minutes ago. President Pezeshkian. He said 20 minutes ago, AI experts in the United States, or all experts? I'm a little confused about this, should make President Trump aware of the reality of people in his country participating in the No Kings protests. The American people are angry about Israel first. They are tired of Israeli kings ruling over American democracy. A lot of comments in the chat about that, with various opinions. Someone says propaganda, somebody else says he is right. Bloomberg today says that they have an article today saying that the Strait of Hormuz oil shock is now heading west. They said they talked to a bunch of people in the oil business and gas business, and they hear over and over these people saying the world still hasn't grasped the severity of the situation. These experts believe that fuel crunches hitting Asia will soon start spreading west. Europe will soon face surging prices and risks diesel shortages. And they say if the strait stays closed, the world will have to significantly reduce its oil and gas consumption, but not before prices spike to a level that forces consumers and businesses to fly, drive, and spend much less. This is literally the same thing. I was mentioning an article in Foreign Policy magazine yesterday where they talked to an energy expert, and he said basically the same thing. He said, if the strait stays closed, there's just not enough oil to meet demand. So people won't be able, the world won't be able to use as much oil. And prices will need to go up to a level that the demand falls to meet the supply. And that's just what this says. If the strait stays closed, the world will have to significantly reduce its oil and gas consumption, but not before prices spike to a level that forces consumers and businesses to fly, drive, and spend much less. One expert told Bloomberg that it's a problem. If the crisis lasts more than 3 or 4 months, it's a systemic problem for the world. And by the way, that assumes things don't get worse. For example, if the Houthis were to attack shipping in the Red Sea. And this article in Bloomberg, it just discussed how high could prices go if the Strait of Hormuz remains closed. Bloomberg also says if the strait remains closed for a second month, traders and analysts say they expect global energy markets will quickly evolve into a fight for supplies, driving up prices. So again, I've now seen 2 different publications, Foreign Policy and Bloomberg, with articles where they talk to experts who say the same thing, that with the Strait of Hormuz closed, there's less oil supply for the world. So at some point in the near future, if it doesn't open up, the world will have to use less oil. And what's going to happen is prices will rise to a point where it forces people to use less oil because the price is too high. And to match the supply, the more limited supply of oil. By the way, thanks to Sean R26 for the memberships. Thank you, Sean. I really appreciate that. Roger Shoemaker says, what a freaking mess. Hang on. We'll take some more comments here. Yo, I need 2 seconds. Give me a second. I need to fix something here. One moment, please. One moment. We're going to take some more comments here. We're going to take some more comments. I need to just get this working again. Where is it? Here? There? Oopsie. Give me one more moment. There we go. Messi says it is not a mess. It is all going to plan, just with mild setbacks. Oh, one of the viewers wanted to do a poll on what the oil price would be. So as I understand it, hey, thanks to Ali C, our member. I'm sorry if I've missed any of the members. Eden Janicki, our member. Thank you. Brent crude is 112, roughly 112 and a half, and WTI crude is about 100. So maybe we'll do a quick poll on what Brent crude will open at. Well, Brent crude price 15 mins after market open. I'm just going to say after market open. Whatever, it's basically 15 minutes or whatever is what I mean. And so it's about 112 and a half now. Okay, I just put the poll up on YouTube. Now I'm going to put it up on Twitch. And now I'm going to post it on Facebook. Fort, our viewer, thinks oil is going to crash soon. Well, soon you would need, I would assume you would need the strait to open for that to happen. Okay, let's see what people predicted for the price of Brent crude after the market opens today, like 15 minutes after it opens or something. It's currently around 112.5. So I am going to post on the screen what you guys are saying. Here is YouTube. On YouTube, 34% think it'll be higher than 117. 25%, 113 to 115. 21% less than 113. 19%, 115 to 117. I never opened the poll on Facebook. Now I did. How about on Twitch? What are people saying on Twitch? On Twitch we have 57% say over 117. That's a big jump. 14% say 115 to 117, 18% say 113 to 115, and 11% say less than 113. One of our viewers, Nigi Franz, says it's going higher. There has been a clear escalation. The skeptic says it'll open higher than paired to 113. Hold on a second here. Hold on. One moment. Hey, shout out to all of our mods, by the way. I really appreciate all of our moderators. Ruth is moderating right now on YouTube. Thanks, Ruth. Roberts May Queen is moderating. Thank you, Roberts May Queen. I'll thank the rest in a second. On Twitch, we have Idaho Star, Matthew Kohai, 3 McRiches, and Surly Dev. Thank you. Speaking of Twitch, thanks to Shells80. Shells gave 2 gift memberships and some bits. Thank you so much, Shells80. I really appreciate that. Also, I don't think I thanked I'm Aware on Twitch for your support. I'm aware, thank you. Did I thank Christina Nash? I think I did, but thank you, Christina Nash. Thanks to everybody for voting in the poll. So we have some disagreement over what's going to happen with oil. Over on Twitch, the majority think it's going to be over 117 when it opens. I'm going to get you the Facebook results in a second. The Facebook poll, 52% on Facebook said over 117. I'll show you the Facebook result here. Here is the Facebook result. 52% said over 117. 22% 115 to 117. 19% 113 to 115. Below 113, 7%. Oop, something happened to the Tel Aviv cam. I'll have to go to that. We'll check it out. Linda Belk, Larry, Misha, moderate for us on X. Thank you so much. Also, thanks on Facebook to Joel McLean for the stars. Thanks, Joel. I really appreciate it. Joel McLean, thanks for the Facebook stars. Also, Kristen McConnell Gates, thanks for the Facebook stars. Thank you, Kristen. And Margaret Riley moderating. K. Larry Body moderating. Andrea Holder, thank you for moderating. Hey, David Brazier, thanks so much, David, for the Facebook stars. Also, Michael Fergal. Thank you, Michael Fergal and Brian Davio, for the Facebook stars. All right. Well, it looks like there's an issue with the Tel Aviv camera. Oh, I think they're restarting the Tel Aviv feed. So, oh, there it is. It's there now, but I think we shouldn't be losing that. We are bringing you a live update on the war. It's going to be a bit shorter than our normal stream because eventually, I'm going to have to go to this event for this conference I am going to be attending. Not nonstop, but I have some conference events the next few days here in Chicago. The Online News Association Conference, which I'm going to help the channel. It's for the benefit of the channel. But I'm going to be going over to one event today, and then maybe after, when I get back, we might do some more coverage a little later tonight. Oh, cool. Let's see here. Give me one moment. Why can't I see anything here? Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Just hang on a second. That doesn't sound good. Hearing some gunfire in the background, periodically. Oh, now what happened? Did the camera freeze? Oh no, I just accidentally turned the volume down. PW360 says you would hit power stations to shut the power off if you're planning a land invasion. Yeah, I'm aware that there was some power outages in Iran today, which have been fixed. I have not heard any reporting that they have hit power stations. The power company said that most of the power has been restored. Also, I do think if Israel or the U.S. had hit power stations, that would be something that Iran would be very quick to say. They'd want to say that, I think. Again, I've heard nothing about that. I'll let you know if I do. But I have no reporting that suggests that the blackouts, which appear to have been temporary in parts of Iran today, were due to direct attacks on power stations. Now, Mikey claims that a Revolutionary Guard site hit was next to a power station. That's certainly possible. I mean, I read you what the Iranian state media said, but I can't guarantee that that's true. They had said that they claim that shrapnel hit and damaged a high voltage tower as well as a substation. They say it was shrapnel. But I've seen no kind of, sometimes they'll make these, if infrastructure is hit, they'll really make a big deal out of it. And I haven't seen any kind of announcements like that from the Iranian government. I didn't realize that Kit Kat had posted. This is kind of interesting. This is not about the war, but there's reporting that a shipment of Kit Kat products, over 400,000 Kit Kat bars was stolen. And Kit Kat actually posted about this. I assume this is the real account. 480,000 followers. Regarding recent press coverage, official statement, they say, we can confirm that 12 tons of Kit Kat products were stolen while in transit between our factory in central Italy and their destination in Poland. We are working closely with local authorities and supply chain partners to investigate. The good news, there are no concerns for consumer safety and supply is not affected. Thank you. That was posted about 2 hours ago. So there you go. They say there are no concerns for consumer safety. Now, I'd be interested in on the reasoning for that, because someone might say, well, if somebody stole the Kit Kats, then how do we know what they're doing to the Kit Kats? You know, maybe the Kit Kats are spoiling in the truck that they're sitting in, and then they get on the market somehow. But I don't know. I'm just saying they don't explain their reasoning for saying there are no concerns for consumer safety. Maybe they know something that we don't. Do you see my reasoning? I don't know what's happening to them, but again, somebody might argue that. But I do not know where the Kit Kats are and what's happening to them. I personally do not have any information to suggest anything bad has happened to the Kit Kats. That would make them less safe. Thank you so much. Hey, George Schwartz gave 50 memberships. George, that's so nice of you. Wow. George gave 50 people memberships in the YouTube chat. Please thank George if he gave you a membership. Also, Kerry gave 5 people memberships, Kerry Poteet. So thank you, Kerry. Please thank people if they gave you a membership. That's really nice of you. Also, if they give you a gift subscription, thank you on Twitch. Please thank them there too. Thank you again, George. Very kind of you. And thank you, Kerry, as well. Oh, hold on a second here. Hey, we're going to try to do something right now. This would be really cool. I've been trying to set this up. So I think if we can get this to work, we're going to have Manny Fabian, who's a great reporter with the Times of Israel, who I quote a lot because I really like his reporting. He's been reporting on conflicts involving Israel for years now. He is going to call in and take some questions. He said he would take some questions. So we're going to try to do this. I'm going to try to call him right now and see if I can make this work. I may have to take off my headphones. Let's see if we can get this to work. All right, hang on. Let's see. Manny, what I can do is put on the screen who he is. Here, look. There. Now, let me just do this a different way. Let me do this a different way. One moment. If we do this, there. Oops, that's not what I want to do. Let's try one more thing. This would be great if we can make it happen, because I've been wanting to do it. Okay, there is Manny right there. Let's see if we can get him on the phone. I can't do it's especially being on the road. It's just too difficult right now to do a thing with video. So I'm just going to try to get him by voice. Let's see. Let's see if this works. Hey, Manny? I tried doing a Twitter call and I heard static. I'm going to try WhatsApp. All right, hold on. That didn't work. We tried doing X call and that was very bad. So now I'm going to try, let's try WhatsApp and see if that works. Okay. Oopsie. Oh, everything got messed up. Everything got messed up. All right, hold on. Just give me a second. Just give me 1 second. Here's what I need to do. Hang on. The first thing I need to do is this. Okay, that's good. I have that done. Okay, that's done. Now the next thing I need to do is this. Let's try this again. Let's try this again. Yeah, the call was not working well. Let's see. Oopsie. Okay, almost there. Gotta get this going. All right, now I'm going to try this again. Let's see if this works. I'm going to mute it for a second. I'm going to mute myself. Hey guys, this is so great. Manny is actually here on the phone. Manny, can you just say a quick hello that we can see if people can hear you?
Yeah, hey everyone. Good to be here.
Okay, could you guys
Right.
in the chat, could you hear Manny when he just talked? Chat, let me see if the chat could hear you. Hold on. They're saying yes. By the way, Manny,
Okay, great.
if you want, if you go to the broadcast like on YouTube, you can open the chat window.
Yeah, I've got the stream up in front of me right
great.
now. Actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So what I want to do before we start is I have your X account, and I just want to throw your information on the screen. So just let me do this real quick. Image. Let me pull up your photo. Okay, great. So there is Manny's X account right there. You can see it. You can follow him on X if you want to. I follow him. And also, let me just put on the screen a graphic that says that you're on the phone. Oh, no.
All right.
Hold on. Live on phone. Reporter. Live on phone from Israel. Reporter Manny Fabian. Okay. Wonderful. Okay, fantastic. So, Manny, I'm so excited. We've actually never actually spoken on the phone. We've talked online.
No, I don't think we have. Yeah, we've chatted quite a bit, but yeah, not on the phone.
So this is really awesome. I really appreciate you calling in from Israel and doing this. And I know you're busy there working, so we won't take up too much of your time. But
Yeah, no worries.
maybe I can ask you a couple questions, and then we can take a couple questions from our viewers. A number of them who I know follow you and read you and everything like that. So thank you. So first of all,
I tell you what.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
There may be a missile heading towards me.
Oh, do you?
Very shortly.
If you have an alert and you need to go, just let me. We can call you back after.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
All right. Manny has to go because there's like a pre.
Not yet.
Oh,
okay.
not.
We can stop.
Oh, is there a pre-alert?
Have a few
I'm
minutes.
looking up on
It's a
Sofa.
pre-alert.
Oh, there's a pre-alert.
It will come in a few seconds.
All right, Manny is going to talk for a couple seconds, and he has to go. Manny, is there anything else about what's going on right now you want to share with anyone? I mean, besides the missile alert?
No, I'm just happy to take any questions.
Okay.
Whatever questions people have.
I have a question, but you won't be able to answer this quickly. That I want to ask you first do you or do people in Israel have a general sense of where this is all going, or just no sense at all? You know, is there going to be
no sense?
Okay.
Yeah. I tell you what, the answer I normally get from whenever I ask, military officials or even political officials on where they think it's going, they all say it's all up to Trump. Whatever Trump decides, that's where the war is going.
Right, and it's just, I mean, because no one here that I know knows, like, if there's. Oh, I'm seeing pre-alerts.
Yeah, now it's come through.
So do you have to go?
Although it doesn't look like I do need to go.
Oh, okay.
It's not in my area specifically.
Okay.
But it's close. But we'll see.
All right. So we can hang out with Manny.
We can hang out for now. Yeah.
But he might have to run and do journalism or go to a shelter or whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's like here, I mean, I don't get the sense that anyone has a great idea of whether there's going to be a ground operation or not and what's going to happen. Also, one other question, because we see all these alerts all the time. In Israel, is there any kind of sense of like, are people getting tired of all these alerts, or is it just like you're just so used to it because it's been years of having these alerts during these conflicts?
I think a lot of people are pretty fed up and tired of it. I mean, I see people complaining about it. To be fair, we're only seeing about, I would say, 10 attacks per day on average, more or less. So, I mean, it's annoying to keep running to the shelter. I think the main thing that people are getting fed up of is the fact that schools are closed. I have a kid who's very young and doesn't go to school yet, but parents with kids, it's been a huge nightmare for them, not being in schools for weeks.
So what is the status of that?
The main complaints.
I feel ignorant by asking this, but is it been closed the entire war? Like in person, school has been closed the entire war?
Yeah, pretty much. Right now, there's a holiday, Passover, so schools are out anyway.
Right.
But basically schools were closed at the beginning of the war. They weren't open at all. Even remote learning was closed. They kind of briefly tried to open remote learning for a bit, and then some towns in certain areas of Israel were allowed to also open, physical learning, sort of in areas that are deemed less under threat of the Iranian missiles, but in very small areas. But in most parts of the country, school has basically been closed for the last month or so. Right,
and it's interesting. That's something I wouldn't initially think about, but it certainly has a huge impact on people's lives, obviously. So, and now somebody just asked in the chat. They said, ask him, do people in Israel agree with this war? Now, I know you don't know everybody in Israel, but can you give a general sense for how people are thinking, or the split among people there? What can you say about that?
I think generally there's support for acting against Iran because of the threat that Iran poses to Israel. So I think there's a consensus there that most people support what the military's doing. But in terms of the government and the way the government's handling the conflict, I think there's a big split there with the way that the public sees it.
And the people, what is the split over? like the methods used, or how much fighting there is, and going into Lebanon and all this stuff, or is it like all different things that people are split over?
There's a lot of aspects to it. I think it's not defining maybe clear enough goals for this war. The fact that again, troops are being sent into Lebanon for the fighting against Hezbollah. The fact that reservists are going to be called up again, which is a huge thing in Israel. With the reserves have been called up for the past 2.5 years, like nonstop.
Right.
So there's a lot kind of aspects to it, but I think in general, polling has showed that the army gets a lot of trust, and the public believes in the military, but not in the political officials ordering the military to do whatever it needs to do.
And can you comment on? I'm not really fluent in this issue, but I've seen some posts about it lately coming out of Israel. With all of this, like you said, reservists being called up and new fighting and big possible campaign in Lebanon happening. I know in Israel there's this issue where people, I think it's Orthodox people, some of them don't have to serve in the armed forces. Is that controversy getting greater now, given all of the fighting and people that need to be fighting now, and the new conflicts in that? Is that increasing that? And could you possibly, maybe if you could possibly sort of simply explain what that controversy is about for our audience, because I think you'd do a better job than me in explaining it.
Yeah, so it's been a decades-long issue where basically the ultra-Orthodox community in Israel are not drafted to the military. They had exemptions, and then the Israeli High Court basically ruled that the exemptions that they were given were illegal. And the government's been trying to, for years and years and years, to basically draft a new law that would allow the ultra-Orthodox to continue to be exempt from military service. And then the war happened. Oh, now I have to go to shelter, sorry.
Oh, okay, go to shelter, be safe. You can let me know when you're out, but be safe there. All right, well, we got Manny for a few minutes. He just had to go to shelter right now. Okay. So we'll keep an eye. It's great to hear from him. Hold on. So let me just get, I got to get my headphones back on. There's some new alerts in Beersheba right now. Look at this. See this? So you can see there's alerts in Beersheba right now. And let me quickly here keep an eye on. So I was talking to him, so I was not able to get updates. So hang on. Let me check for a second. I want to check Israeli reporting. I have to replace the camera from Tel Aviv, which I'll do in a second. But let me just check the reporting from Israel about what's going on. Do I have the new Tel Aviv cam yet? Yes, I do. One sec. Okay, that's that. One moment. And let me check what is happening in Israel with these missile alerts. Okay, so there's been alerts in the past few minutes in Israel, missile alerts. And I'm not seeing a lot of reporting yet on the actual missiles. So keeping an eye on that. Now, there was 2 minutes ago, Daphne Leil, who's an Israeli reporter, 2 minutes ago, she said the missile will reach Jordanian territory. Alarms were activated in communities adjacent to the Jordanian border due to shrapnel. Now, that's one missile. There may be more than one missile. Okay, so there's alarms going on. You can see, well, now they're not going on at the moment. All right, hold on a second. Manny says he'll be back in 5 minutes. That's what Manny said. He'll be back in 5 minutes. So he'll take a few questions from you guys. Let me see if I can find anything. One of our viewers, not that Karen, says, I can't fathom having to live like that 2 weeks. It's actually been more than that, of needing to go straight to a bomb shelter. Yeah, you just gotta, you don't get much alert, you know? You don't get much time. Whether you're sleeping or in the shower or whatever you're doing, you gotta be ready to go. Let's see here. I'm just checking for updates. I haven't heard anything about Beersheva yet. By the way, I think this may have been, there was a report that there was a drone that got too close to Air Force One. You can see NORAD says a NORAD F-16 aircraft responded to is this just a different thing? A civilian aircraft that entered restricted airspace under a temporary flight restriction over Palm Beach. The situation was resolved safely. Olya Scootercaster posted about this. She said, I think this is her video, but she said, an announcement on Delta flight, there is a ground stop at Palm Beach Airport in Florida due to a drone that came too close to flying during Air Force One takeoff. Helicopters have flown in to investigate. That was her report from several hours ago. So I don't know if the NORAD is about the same thing. I got to look it up. I didn't check after. Yeah, so 13 ABC WHAM, or no, CBS 12 West Palm Beach said, oh no, they quoted her. Oh, and Andrew Feinberg, who is with a reporter with The Independent, he said at the time that drone concern was going on, he said that President Trump was still at West Palm Beach Golf Club and not at the plane. Anyways, I don't know all the details about that. Yeah, so we're going to, as soon as Manny can get back on the air, we'll get him back and take some more of your questions. I'm still looking to see if I can give you any more updates. Did they say that the event has ended? People can leave their shelters. people can leave their shelters. Give me... Oh, the Hot News, who I follow, reported that there were intercepts. They report on Israeli news. I need to get a little more water. Give me about 10 seconds. I'm going to take about 10 seconds and just get some water. I just realized I never updated the headline. The headline should just not say he's on the phone, because he's not on the phone right now. Oh, okay, he's ready now. We're going to try him again. We're going to get Manny back on from the Times of Israel to take some more of your questions and talk a little more about the war. All right, so give me a moment here. One moment here.
Hello again.
Hello, Manny. Manny is back with us, everyone. Manny, a number of our viewers were commenting and saying, like, oh my gosh, it's just so crazy that people have to live where they're, at a moment's notice, whatever you're doing, you have to run to the shelter, and this happens multiple times a day.
Yeah, it's, I'm lucky to have a bomb safe room in my apartment because it's a relatively new building, but, there's a lot of people, I think even most of the country, don't have access to that kind of thing, and they have to go find either a bomb shelter that's one for the whole building. Usually it's in the basement, and sometimes even sort of communal ones that are in the area, and sometimes takes time to actually, run all the way downstairs to actually reach them. So, at least in my case, it's not too far to get to, at least.
But you really need to, because we know from covering these alerts, you don't have that much time to get there.
It's 90 seconds.
Yes.
That is sort of the warning time for Iranian attacks.
Okay.
But then when you go to communities on the Lebanon border, the
right.
rocket fire from there, they get 15 seconds, 30 seconds. They used to be immediate. They just changed some of the towns, so they have slightly more time. But it's still 15 seconds is nothing. It's no time at all.
Well, thanks for coming back on, and we'll take some more of your. We're going to take some more questions here. And just before we get to some more questions from the viewers, you were talking about.
About the
again,
Orthodox, right?
Yeah. So if you could just kind of quickly for people.
So I'll quickly summarize that.
Yes.
So basically the court ruled that it's illegal to not draft them, but in reality the army didn't draft them. Right now there's about 80,000 or so members of the ultra-Orthodox community who are eligible for military service who haven't drafted. And the army, of course, is, because of the war, it's the whole issue has been, exacerbated. It needs more soldiers. The army says it needs at least 12,000 more soldiers. Most of them combat, because during the war, thousands of soldiers have been wounded, hundreds have been killed, and the army's deployed in more areas than it was ever before. It's in South Lebanon, it's in Gaza, it's in Syria, it's in the West Bank. So this issue has really been sort of brewing in the country. There have been efforts by the army to sort of make these different units adapted more for the ultra-Orthodox community, sort of more suited to their lifestyle, but the numbers are relatively limited. So it's not, we're not seeing thousands drafting yet. It's a few hundred here and there.
And it's a controversial issue there, correct? At this point.
Yeah, it's very controversial. You're even seeing, it's not really a right or left issue in the country, because you'll see that there are right-wing parties who are, in the current government or in previous governments who are very much in support of drafting the ultra-Orthodox community now. So it's a bit of a big mess, and I think it's going to be one of the main things that come up in the next election.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. Thanks for talking about that, giving some background. And now I'm going to try to take some questions. People watching, if you wanna ask something, just put it in the chat. I'll try to skim through, and Manny is looking at the chat too. Now I see an interesting question here. Michelle Anwar says, is Israel sending troops on ground or only U.S.? So I guess a question I would ask, a form of this question I would ask is, so we've been hearing obviously that the U.S. might conduct ground operations. Is there any talk of Israel about whether Israeli troops might be involved in that, or does it just not come up, or what?
I don't think that's come up at all. And, if you ask me, I think it's very unlikely that Israel would be involved in a ground operation in Iran. Mm-hmm. I don't think Israel really has the capabilities to sort of carry that kind of thing out. We've seen, of course, small operations like with the Mossad. Right. They were, of course, involved in Iran. But I'm not talking about, whatever the Americans are planning with, thousands of ground forces invading Iran. I don't think we'll see Israel involved with ground troops, mainly from the air, which is what Israel's been doing so far.
Right. Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to check the chat for more questions. I have a couple more questions too. How was one of the viewers, K Per for Life says, what about the Houthis' attacks on Israel? So, was it a big deal in Israel for Israelis when the Houthis a couple days ago started launching missiles at Israel again, or is it just kind of like, well, we get all these missiles launched at us anyway, so it's just a few more once in a while? Like, how much are people thinking about that there?
I don't think people think about it too much. It was kind of expected that the Houthis would eventually join and start firing, mm-hmm. and of course we experienced Houthi attacks during the war in Gaza for 2 years. The Houthis fired like every other day a missile at Israel back then, so it's not completely unknown territory. But what I'm hearing from at least from the Israeli military is that it's more of a distraction than anything else. The main focus is still Iran and of course Hezbollah and Lebanon, and the Houthis will fire a drone here and there, but it's something that they can deal with, they say, and it's not going to just distract them too much from the current fighting. Right.
Now, obviously, if they were to start attacking shipping in the Red Sea, that could have big economic effects, but that's kind of this whole other thing. And then, how about, I wanted to ask something. So I was wondering, and again, I don't know if there's a general sense in Israel, and there's probably lots of different views on this, but so with all these, obviously Israel and the U.S. are conducting lots of strikes in Iran, in damaging lots of infrastructure and going after military targets and missile targets and regime targets and all that stuff. And that certainly will put a dent in Iran's ability to attack Israel in the future, at least, in the coming years. But someone, to play devil's advocate, might say, well, if the regime survives this war, they're going to have a motivation to try to get a nuclear weapon that they didn't have before. They might see that as like, that's the way we're going to survive. I guess my general question is there any kind of debate there over like, is this the best thing really for Israel's security? I mean, obviously there's benefits to Israel's security, but could there be a down the line some kind of negative to Israeli security from this war? Is there any kind of debate over that going on there?
Yeah, no, I think there is. I think that's definitely something that's being talked about, because the fact is that after the June 2025 war, Israeli leaders came out and said that we've set back Iran by years, and we've removed this existential threat to Israel. And then, a few months later, not even a year later, we see that Iran has, still got these capabilities. It can still launch missiles at Israel. It's still developing its nuclear program. Not to say that the June war didn't do anything. It clearly removed some threats and pushed Iran back by a little bit, but not close to what at least Israeli leaders were promising. And the big question is now is, if the regime does survive this war, then, they're going to go back to building missiles again. They're probably going to go back to their nuclear program again. And then where does that leave Israel? Does it go back to launching another war against Iran in another 6 months, another year or so? That's a sort of a bit of a strategic question that Israel is kind of facing now, and I think the main hope was that the Iranian regime, collapses and falls, but I don't think really, if anyone knows that will happen. No one knows for sure that that's going to happen.
And speaking of that, what you just said about the hope the regime falls, I've seen some claiming that that Israel, that Netanyahu was thinking that the regime was going to fall and hoping it was going to happen soon. Do you have a sense if he was really thinking that, or do you have a sense of, did the Israeli government think there was a serious chance that the regime was going to fall soon after this war started, or not, or do you just not know?
I don't really know what the political leaders are thinking, but I know, at least from the military's perspective, they from the get-go at least were saying, we don't know for sure what's going to happen with the regime, but we're doing the best we can to help, they say, create the conditions to allow the regime to fall. But they always said from the beginning, we have no idea if this is actually going to work.
Right.
But maybe the political leaders believe something else. Maybe they were even promised something else by the military. I'm not entirely sure.
Right. Okay. Let's take just a couple more questions from our audience. I want to check the chat. So here's a question. One of the viewers, I'm trying to find it, I think it was Connie Jacket or something, said, does the population in Israel believe the military complies with international law? So I guess the general question is there debate and controversy among the population about, the actions of the soldiers? I mean, I guess you could argue about this could be soldiers and military in Gaza, or the military in the West Bank, or how the military treats when the settlers, get into things with the Palestinians. So you can answer this how you wish, but what is the status of the thinking of ordinary Israelis about the actions of the military, and is it a divisive issue there?
I would say that being honest about it, probably most Israelis believe that the Israeli military is complying with international law. Mm-hmm. Although there are, of course, cases where the army hasn't, and it's done things against. There have been cases of soldiers committing war crimes in Gaza. Israel's its presence in the West Bank as a whole, of course, is not something that's supported by most of the Western world. So there are, of course, people in Israel who don't believe that the army is following international law, but I think the vast majority of the population probably does and believes that the military is acting in accordance with it. And the army says that it's acting in accordance with it. Of course, as a reporter, I try to point out, cases where the army has done things where it's wrong, to report on those things. Right. I think those are important issues for the public to know about. But if you're asking about the general sense of the Israeli public, then yeah, the Israeli public very much supports the Israeli military. Right.
And again, I'm not asking you your personal view. I'm just trying to get a sense of what the Israeli public thinks. Also, is there a concern among the Israeli public about, so in theory, I mean, I don't know how much, so my thought was this, is there a concern that, wow, what if this keeps going on, this war, and suppose that there's some ground operation, and then the Strait of Hormuz stays closed for months, and then the Houthis start attacking the Red Sea, and just the economy gets worse for everyone around the world. Is that really a major concern now, or is that not? I mean, is it more pressing things people are thinking about there?
I think I don't think most Israelis are thinking about the Strait of Hormuz or ground operations. Okay. I think it's more about when am I going to go back to work? When can I send my kids back to school kind of thing?
Understand.
And I think that when is the sky going to open? Because right now there's no flights coming in and out.
Right.
Those are the kind of things people think about. But this, even if the war does continue, eventually things will open up. We saw this, 2.5 years ago when the war with Hamas started. Things were closed for weeks, and then eventually life started getting back to normal. So even if this does continue for however long Trump wants it to go, I think people will begin to get back to their lives eventually.
I appreciate you bringing that up, and I think it's something, obviously for people around the world, like in the U.S., you want to know how things are going to affect the world, how it's going to affect the U.S., what's going to happen militarily. But for people in Israel, for people in Lebanon, I believe it's about 20% of the population has been displaced right now during this war. For people in Iran, obviously, they've had no internet for the war. People, there's bombing going on all over the place. It's such disruption for people in these countries. Also, obviously, there are people in these countries who have died and gotten injured during the war. But you can kind of forget just the amount of disruption going on in all of these countries to ordinary people. So I appreciate you bringing that up. All right, let's just do a couple. Again, I don't want to keep you too long. Maybe we can do one.
No worries, I got time.
Okay, let me just do a couple more questions from our chat. I want to just kind of go through, I know some people have been posting questions, so I kind of want to scroll back and see. If you have questions, please post them in the chat soon so we can see them. And if you see any that you find interesting, feel free to just answer them. Let's see here. What is the end game? Progressive Dub says, what is the end game? I don't know, Manny, if you have any thoughts on this. It's a great question of how this is all going to play out, or if there's a general feeling in Israel about how this is all going to play out.
Nobody really knows. I mean, the goals were basically to remove the threat of that Iran, has against Israel, the ballistic missiles, the nuclear program mainly. And there was this sort of, I don't want to call it a side objective, but the second one, which is helping the regime collapse, basically. Those are the two goals. As much as you destroy Iran's nuclear program and ballistic missiles, if the regime survives, then they're going to go rebuild that. So they're kind of tied together. So it really remains to be seen what will be achieved.
And how about with Lebanon? I mean, I got to say, I was a little surprised. I didn't anticipate this whole major Lebanon campaign that might be happening. I mean, it seems pretty major right now, but we're hearing about, maybe going up to the Litani River and taking and holding that land. That's a huge thing. And when the war started, I mean, at least me, I'm not an Israeli expert, but that was kind of surprising to me. Did people there think that was going to happen? And is that this big surprise to people there? And how are people feeling about the possible major campaign in Lebanon that's come out of this?
Yeah, it was, in a way, it was a bit expected because, since the ceasefire with Hezbollah,
right,
in the end of 2024, Israel continued to strike Hezbollah the entire time. Basically, every single day there was a strike against, Hezbollah members who the army says were trying to rebuild infrastructure in South Lebanon. So it never really ended the whole conflict. And then the army was preparing plans for this, scenario where Hezbollah attacks Israel, and then Israel can use this as a sort of an excuse to go back in and deal with Hezbollah sort of once and for all, because Israel was saying that the Lebanese army wasn't doing enough to dismantle Hezbollah in South Lebanon as it was sort of meant to do. So it was always kind of waiting to happen in a way.
Okay.
And it was just a matter of time for when Hezbollah decides to, attack Israel, and it launched a few rockets, and then Israel said, okay, that's it, we're going back to fighting again. That was basically it. So it's not too surprising, but it is a pretty major operation, and I think it's important to say that if and when the war in Iran ends, the war in Lebanon is not going to stop.
Right.
It's going to continue beyond that because Israel doesn't want to connect the two theaters together. They're basically separate. Right. And it would also free up basically most of the Air Force to actually operate in Lebanon. Right now, most of the Air Force is operating in Iran. So there's only a limited amount of activities the Air Force can do because it's focused on Iran.
That's interesting. Also, there's this whole other thing, which is that there's no rebuilding in Gaza yet, which is this whole other issue that's kind of put to the side right now, but we won't even go into that. A good question from our viewer. AFK Alien says, is there concern in Israel about Israel running low on interceptors?
So I've had a lot of stories about the interceptors since the beginning of this war and even in the previous war. I think there's a couple of things. One is Israel planned this operation with the US, of course, out months in advance. So when they planned the operation, they took into account how many interceptors they would need. I think that's a pretty obvious thing. If they were able to plan these strikes to kill, Ali Khamenei and all these top officials in Iran, I think they managed to factor in how many interceptors. It's all based on how many missiles Israel thinks Iran has, and they stockpiled enough. But I don't think there's a shortage of interceptors, but I do think that the army conserves its interceptors when possible. So missiles that head for open areas, they don't intercept them because there's no reason to. The cluster munitions, I did a report recently that in some cases they don't bother intercepting them because the small bomblets from the cluster munitions, the damage that they cause is relatively minor. It's like a grenade going off. Not to say that it's not damage and it has killed people.
Right.
But if you're in a bomb shelter, you're probably not going to be harmed by it.
Right.
So in those cases, they try to conserve them. And then also they made upgrades to the medium range. Basically, Israel has a multi-tiered air defense sort of array. The Arrow is the one that intercepts ballistic missiles out in space, and then the David Sling is for more medium range targets. But the Defense Ministry did upgrades to the David Sling before the war to allow it to intercept ballistic missiles as well. So that's also been used. And those interceptors are a lot cheaper than the Arrow ones. So there are efforts to conserve the more expensive interceptors, but it doesn't mean that there's a shortage. It means that they don't want to get to a shortage, basically.
Okay. And let's see here. Let's just see a couple more questions. Let's see. Why? So somebody said, one of our viewers said, why is America following Israel into the war? I don't know if there's a sense there about, like, I know in the U.S. there's this debate about, like, did Israel get the U.S. to go into the war with them, kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe that's a more of a U.S. debate, but I guess a question is this: is that what do Israelis think about the U.S. role in all this? I don't have a great sense are people like divided on Trump, divided on the U.S., or is there a general thought there about the relations with the U.S. and their participation in the war?
I can say at least from the military's perspective, I don't really know how to answer this from the public, but from the military perspective, they are very happy with the cooperation and coordination with the US. They say it's unprecedented, historic. It's a thing that they've never done before. I mean, following years and years of joint drills and exercises, this is the first time that Israel is actually fighting in a war alongside the Americans, which is, they say it's
right.
It's a brand new thing, and it's working very very well, and everything's going great. And I've even been able to see some of the sort of things from the planning stages of the operation, and it was all closely planned between the two militaries. You even have right now there's officials from the Israeli military sitting in command centers in America, and American soldiers who are in Israeli command centers, and they're all working together and operating alongside each other during this war. So it's a big deal for the militaries. I don't know what's happening on the political level of things, of who dragged who into this war, if that even was the case.
Right.
But as far as the armies are concerned, it's a good thing.
Okay. Javier Valdez says, does Israel think there's an end to war? If I'm interpreting this question right, do people in Israel do they think that one day there won't be all this fighting, or is it just forever, basically, for the foreseeable future, we're surrounded by countries that we're have hostile relationships with, and this is just the way it's going to be?
It's a good question. I mean, that's kind of where Israel is in the Middle East, but you do look around at Israel's neighbors, and it's made peace with two of them, with Egypt and Jordan. There were, talks, or I would say movements towards potential agreements with Syria that may still happen. I think even potentially with Lebanon, it could happen if Hezbollah is removed. I think there's a chance for some sort of agreement there to fix the border between the countries, which has been, of course, an ongoing dispute for decades. Mm-hmm. I would hope that these wars don't last forever, but we live in the Middle East and things are unpredictable here, some fronts may remain open for a very long time. It's really hard to say.
Is there a concern in Israel? Because there's been a bunch of stories over the last couple of years in the U.S. about supposedly falling American support for Israel. You see these polls and they'll say, hey, if you look at the Americans now compared to 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, fewer Americans support Israel than did before. Is there a concern in Israel that the events of the last several years could threaten American support for Israel, given the importance of American support for Israel? Maybe who knows what happens in the next in the next presidential election or something like that. Who knows what American politics is going to look like in 5 years? Is that something that's an active concern there?
I think it's definitely been brought up mainly by the opposition in Israel, bringing this up as a major concern, saying that, look, we're losing the support from America, and especially from the American public, especially the young people in America. And then who knows, if Trump's no longer the president, then what will be of the American support for Israel. But that's something that is kind of more on the political level of things, mm-hmm. Where, of course, because I cover the military, so I know more about what's happening with that. At least as far as the IDF is concerned, they're not concerned, meaning they have really good cooperation with their counterparts. So that's not really what they're worried about. But, what is brought up is mainly from, people who are against the current government, saying that the government is destroying Israel's relations with the U.S., right, and the government saying that it's not, and that's kind of the argument. And
can you remind me, because I just forget, where are we at with the next election in Israel? When is the next big election there?
It has to be by October, mm-hmm. This year. It could be earlier. If it's by October, then that means the government filled its entire tenure, but it depends. But again, that's kind of politics and not really my expertise.
Okay. And so you focus more on military stuff. Is that where your background is, or for what you're doing right now for Times of Israel?
Yeah, no, I've been covering the military beat for the Times of Israel for about 5 years now.
Right.
So yeah, that's basically what I focus on. So I try to ignore most of the politics.
Okay. Sorry, I probably should be asking you more military questions, but I think there's a lot of interest from myself and others of just getting the kind of feeling for what's going on in Israel. All right, let's just maybe do one or two more. Can you do one or two more? Can we squeeze that out of you? Okay. And let's see here. Can I just ask, we get people commenting once in a while on nuclear weapons.
Yes.
And I mean, so I've heard nothing to suggest there's any chance of nuclear weapons being used anytime soon. I did read an article by, I think it might have been Ed Luce in the Financial Times, who said that he wouldn't be surprised if at some point, like President Trump made a sort of an obscure reference to possibly using them, which I could, who knows if it'll happen. But again, aside from that, I'm not sitting here thinking it'll happen. But I guess is there? I mean, it's kind of like we don't really hear it discussed in every day about Israel, but. Is this something that like gets discussed more over there? I mean, they do. I mean, I guess it's never been fully admitted, but it's widely assumed that they have many nuclear weapons. So in situations like this war going on, do people start talking about it there, or does it come up, or is it just kind of like not really discussed?
I haven't heard it come up, at least in sort of the public discourse.
Yep.
So yeah, it's not really something that's actually come up. I think it's that's all I really have, I guess.
Right, that's fair. Fair enough. And let's see here. Oh, good question from our viewer, from Nobody You Know. What is the main reasoning in Manny's understanding for Israel not allowing the live cams to show the attacks? So, a couple days in, basically they told all the news agencies, you cannot show the live cams, as you know. Before you answer this, I will say, full disclosure, I have said on the air before, and I've said, like, look, I know they say it helps the enemy. I've said I've said personally, I would not be surprised if there might be a political component to this. Is it a PR thing at all to not be showing these missiles coming down and the sirens and the explosions? Maybe it's a bit of both. I don't know what you can say about this, but that is an interesting question. It's something that I know a lot of our viewers like to just know what's going on, and obviously it's harder to know what's going on when you can't see that stuff. So what is your understanding of that whole situation?
Yeah, so there's a couple things. There is military censor in Israel that sort of prevents publication of things that it deems are harmful to Israeli security. That's their official ruling, and they change their guidelines depending on the conflict all the time. They send out new guidelines to journalists basically to follow them. So they did indeed change the fact that you can't film the skyline and show the missiles arriving or being intercepted. From what I understand, they mainly don't want Iran to know how many missiles are actually reaching Israel and hitting their targets. But once a missile does hit somewhere, if it's a civilian area, of course, there usually isn't a problem to broadcast from there. Today, there was a missile that impacted sort of in my city. That I went to the site. I asked the censor, "Can I broadcast from here?" And they said, "Yes, no problem." So you'll see that there's plenty of footage going around following missile attacks. Usually very quickly the footage comes out. So there's no real censorship of that kind of thing. Yep. But there is, you'll also find we can't report on things like how many missiles Iran has fired at Israel per day. I'm prevented from reporting on that. That's the current rules. And that's why they don't want people to film the skyline, which can give Iran an idea of how many missiles are actually reaching Israel.
So you're saying, is that true? So because I notice when there's a missile alert, it's sometimes they say there was an interception, but you're saying that you're not allowed to say, in that latest missile wave there were 4 missiles fired or something?
Yeah, we can't specify the exact numbers. We can give a daily tally. Okay. But not exact numbers.
That's interesting.
That's the current rules. Yeah.
And also, how about these situations where you sometimes there's a thing where you hear maybe in some Arabic media, hey, we're hearing about a situation in Lebanon involving Israel and possibly some wounded. And I believe, Manny, there are situations where that the military says you can't report on this, and then a few hours later you'll hear cleared for publication. 4 Israeli soldiers were seriously wounded in Lebanon. So how does that work? Is it just if there's a certain situation going on, they'll tell you?
So that's not censorship. That's basically a case of the IDF asking reporters nicely to wait with casualties. Okay. Before notifying next of kin and everything. Okay. But there are basically I would call them Telegram channels in Israel that don't want to abide by these rules and just they publish it anyway beforehand. But as a journalist, I kind of have to. If I don't follow these rules, then I won't get access to things from the military. Of course, that's sort of the relationship that we have.
Fair enough.
So when soldiers are wounded or killed, then we have to wait for the army to notify their families, and only once that happens, then we can go public. But usually the military tells us about the incident beforehand and says, by the way, soldiers were wounded or killed in this incident. This is what happened. And then once it is released, then that's how I have a report ready with all the details. But sometimes we just need to wait. And I'm sure it's similar in America as well with certain cases like this.
Okay. We just got 2 viewers who asked similar questions, Jane Jones and Bald Fury. Does Israel plan to annex parts of Lebanon? So there's talk, I know, of Israel military occupying or going into some of southern Lebanon, and they've issued evacuation orders. Do you get any kind of sense of if there's this plan to have like a more permanent presence in some of this territory, or is that just something you're not aware of?
Annexation, highly unlikely. But I would say Israeli army posts.
Right.
We already have the 5 posts that are in Lebanon. The army will establish probably more deeper within Lebanon as part of this new sort of security zone up to the Litani River. Mm-hmm. I don't know how long that will be for. I don't think anybody knows. But, for argument's sake, let's say Hezbollah doesn't disarm and continues to fight Israel for the next few years, then the IDF will probably be permanently based in southern Lebanon for the next few years, if that is the case.
I understand. Awesome. This has been so nice of you to come and answer our questions. I really, really appreciate it. Really kind of you to take your time. And I know it's late at night there, so I'm going to let you go. But
no problem at all.
I want to make sure I have on the screen is the best place for people to follow you on social media, X, because I have your X account up there on the screen.
Yeah, on Twitter or X, or I'm also on Telegram as well, same handle.
Manny Fabian on Telegram.
If that's easier for people.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Very good. But I really appreciate your reporting just in general, and the fact that you came on here from Israel and took our questions and took the viewer questions. Thank you so much. I hope you stay safe there and everybody stays safe. And in all of the countries, I hope people stay safe. But thanks so much for doing this, Manny. Really appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Talk to you later, Manny. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, see ya.
That was super nice of Manny to come on the air. By the way, if I do, I know Manny just from online, from past coverage and talking to him in the past, just online. So if I can make a connection with a journalist from Iran or a journalist from Lebanon, I am more than happy to have them on the air. I'm not just singling out Manny because he's with Times of Israel, but Manny happens to be somebody who I know from previously. So, I thought it would be good to and a number of those questions I know that he answered are people have been asking them in the chat, so I'd rather he knows more about it than me. As AJ says, a journalist from Iran, do they exist? Look, that is a problem, right? In Iran, media is tightly controlled. It's probably going to be not easy to who is the journalist I'm going to find from Iran who works in Iran who is going to be able to come on and kind of speak freely? I don't know, but certainly it's something I will look into. There's a journal, I'm not going to mention a name, but there's someone I've talked to in the past, and she is a Middle Eastern reporter, and we've tried to get it set up. So I will look into that again and try to get that set up. But again, I do really appreciate him coming on the air and taking questions. And so I would like to do that again with other people. But I'll look around and I'll see who I can connect with. But I really appreciate him coming on the air. You can follow him if you want at Manny Fabian. All right, let me just fix this. And oopsie, now I somehow got rid of the, what did I do? Oh, no, it's back. But one thing I will mention again, which I think is very helpful to hear, is he just mentions what it's like for regular people in Israel. And I think you could say the same for regular people in Lebanon, regular people in Iran. He's saying in Israel, their kids haven't been in school for a month. And they have to, a lot of reservists who normally would just be having everyday lives are getting called up to the military. And you have, obviously, the disruption from the alerts many times a day. And this is stuff that really impacts regular people's lives. But if you're somebody with kids and they've been home for a month, that's obviously going to impact your life. And as I said, I mean, we've talked about in Lebanon, about 20% of the population has literally been displaced by this war. And obviously, enormous impact on people in Iran. So regular people, over 100 million people, I would think, in between all three of these countries, for example, being impacted. And of course, you have regular people being impacted in lots of other Middle Eastern countries as well. So it's easy to forget that when you're talking about the armies and the politics and everything. But that is, it impacts all kinds of regular people in really big ways. Let's see here. But that was cool of him to come on and take the time to do that. All right, now, right now the time is, it is 5 p.m. Israel time. We're going to go a little longer here. As I explained earlier, oh, by the way, if I missed some people I do apologize, because during the interview I wasn't checking. So if people gave gift memberships, there's things are a little messed up with YouTube now. They're fixing it, but I can't even go back. I can't even go back very far right now like I normally can and then see who gave gift memberships. As crazy as that sounds, I can only see from the last 5 minutes. There's some messed up stuff with YouTube. It's going to get fixed in a couple days. So I'm sorry if I missed the people giving gift memberships. I do appreciate Trump's pool guy over there on Twitch. Oh, yeah, if I get him, Trump's pool guy, I'm sorry. I missed your question. I just saw your question. It said, ask him about the gunfire in Beirut. I don't know if he would know about that, about the gunfire we hear once in a while in Beirut. It's a very good question, though. Sorry, it's not 5 p.m. in Israel. I meant it's 5 p.m. Eastern time, not 5 p.m. in Israel. Obviously, it's on the screen. It is just after midnight in Israel. But so what I'm doing is I am bringing you this from Chicago, and I am here for a conference, the Online News Association, which I am doing for the benefit of the channel. And there are some conference events going on the next couple days. There is one event today I would like to go to. So what I'm going to do is probably in about 20 minutes, we'll wrap up the broadcast. And then I'm going to go to that, and we may have more coverage tonight once I get back. It's not a whole day thing. But I'd like to maybe do some coverage tonight if I can. But just a heads up, this is a shorter stream than we would normally do because of that. But I want to check for some updates here. And again, I have my portable setup here. So did we ever get what happened to the Beirut camera? Oh, I have a Jerusalem camera now. There's also a Beirut camera. And different ones at different times. Let me just put up on the screen. Ooh. Beirut. Okay, there's Beirut. I'm seeing Beirut. So what we're going to do is, I know that looks like it, but what we want to do is, hold on. Give me a moment here. Okay, there's that. And I need to do this. There it is. And the oil market will be opening in an hour, less than an hour, in like 57 minutes. But we won't be on the air for it. We did a poll about it before. Most people thought that oil was going to go up. Some thought it was going to go up. It's about Brent is about 112 and a half. A number of people thought it was going to go up above 117. Let me check a couple things here. I'm seeing a report from N12 News that says entire battalion of Israeli armed forces from CNN crew attack incident to be removed from operational employment. If you haven't seen it, there was an incident with a CNN crew, if I'm getting this right. I watched it, but I'm trying to remember. A CNN crew a couple days ago was out covering an incident where some Israeli settlers attacked Palestinians in the West Bank. And several members of the Israeli military who were out there ended up taking the crew into custody, approaching them, I guess, with their guns drawn. And then one of the, Jeremy Diamond of CNN posted about this and posted a whole video about this. But they took them into custody, and also some of the comments they made seemed to suggest that they were like on the side of the settlers. Anyways, you can go watch. I'll post a link to the report. But then the army, the Israeli army later said that they were investigating it and that the behavior of the troops was not in line with how the Israeli government wants them to behave in this kind of situation. So again, I just saw a report from N12 News claiming that the entire battalion from the CNN crew attack incident to be removed from operational employment. I'll post a link. If you want to know the background, the best thing is just go watch the video that Jeremy Diamond posted. I'll post a link to it. Yeah, Jeremy Diamond said that the Israeli soldiers assaulted a photojournalist with CNN team, and they were all detained. Here, I'm going to post the link to his post, and you can watch it if you want. It's about a 4 or 5 minute video. U.S. Rights and Freedom says, I saw that video. Oh, no, Manny is not on the phone anymore. Sorry. The IAEA posted, and they said, based on the independent analysis of satellite imagery and knowledge of the installation, the IAEA has confirmed the heavy water production plant at Khandab, which Iran reported had been attacked on March 27th, has sustained severe damage and is no longer operational. The installation contains no declared nuclear material. Just a little background on that. Heavy water can allow nuclear reactors to operate and potentially produce plutonium for nuclear weapons, says the Wall Street Journal. So this heavy water production plant was destroyed by Israel. I believe Israel is the one that hit it. I believe. And obviously, we are still waiting to see what is going to happen with U.S. possibly conducting ground operations in Iran. Will the U.S. try to take Karg Island? I have no idea. Could something happen this week? I have no idea. Eros Kavkaz says still nothing. Old Mordim says, who knows what Trump is going to do or say tomorrow? All right, so what we're going to do is this. Here's what we're going to do. So, I'm going to start kind of doing the wrap up for this stream. Again, the reason is that I am going to this. I am here in Chicago for a few days for this online news association conference, and there is an event I'm going to go to. Not the whole day, but I'm going to go right after this broadcast, and then it's possible tonight we will do more coverage when I get back. It's very possible we'll do another stream tonight when I get back. Okay, but for now I'm going to start wrapping up this stream, and just keep an eye out because. We might do more coverage later. But I'm going to go to this event. And if something huge enough happens, I can always leave whatever I'm at and then rush back and get on the air. That can happen too. So I'll keep an eye out on the news. Anyways, I really appreciate you guys being here for this live stream, and a huge thanks to Manny Fabian from Times of Israel for calling in and taking some of our questions too. I really appreciate that. But I thank you for watching. I would suggest turn on the notifications for the channel, because that way you can find out if we're coming on the air tonight or whenever we come on the air next. I never know our schedule here, but turn on the notifications. We have our own notification system. It works great. It's really easy. You sign up for free once, and then you get sent a notification before we go live every time. The mods will post a link to the notifications in the chat. And you can find that notification sign up also in the description of this video on YouTube and Facebook. I got to thank our mods. I didn't thank the mods enough, but I'll thank them in a second. I really appreciate it. But I really appreciate people being here for the stream. Sorry for a bit of a shorter stream for this stream, but we will be doing more coverage. And if you want, subscribe, follow the channel, Agenda Free TV. We cover all kinds of live breaking news without an agenda. Also, I will post on my X account updates when I'm not on the air. So if you're on X, follow me over there, at Lookner on X. If I can get this posted, get this out there, at Lookner on X. You can follow me for breaking news over there. And thanks for sending in your updates and your comments and your questions. I'm sorry we got to a number of your questions. I know I didn't get to all, obviously didn't get to all the comments. I never do, but thanks for people for writing in and sending your updates and asking things. And we'll get to more viewer comments and questions in the next broadcast. Bobby Zitch says, did you hear the Pope's remarks on the war? No, I'll have to look into that because I hadn't heard it yet. So, but I can't right now because I got to wrap this up. But thanks I'll look into it. Thank you so much, Bobby Zitch, for asking about that. Hey, huge thanks to our moderators. You guys are awesome. The moderators are the reason that we can have chats. We can't have the chat rooms without the moderators. So thank you so much for being here. Beth Mythical over there on YouTube, and Ruth and Roberts May Queen and all of our other YouTube moderators, thank you. And Linda Belk, Larry, Misha on X, big thank you. On Twitch, Big Ball of Yarn, DeBears, Idaho Star, Matthew Kohai 3, McBritches, and Surly Dev, and all of our other Twitch moderators, thanks so much. And on Facebook, Linda, Kay Lowry Body, Margaret Riley, Andrea Holder, Paul Anderson, thanks for moderating there. Also, thanks Joel McLean for the Facebook stars, and Kristen McConnell Gates, thanks for the Facebook stars. And David Bragier and everybody else who gave stars over there, thank you. And also thanks to everybody who supported the channel today. Very nice of you guys. With the memberships and everything else. Thanks, Shelby, for being a member. I think I might have missed some people who gave memberships on YouTube, and I'm really sorry about that. Again, there's a bit of an issue with YouTube now, which is they're fixing. But one of the issues is that I can't go back and see everybody who's given memberships like I normally can. So if I missed it, like, say, during the interview, I'm really sorry about that. I apologize. But I appreciate your support for the channel. That's what allows this channel to be on the air, so thank you so much. And real quick, I just want to mention another good way to find out when we're going live, for those of you on X, is to follow us on X at Agenda Free TV. I always post there before we go live. I post updates about the channel there as well, at Agenda Free TV. Check out our Discord chat. It's free. You can chat with other viewers for free on our Discord chat. It's the same link as the free notification sign-up link. You can check the chat out there. And big thanks to all of our Discord mods who help out with the Discord chat. And also want to mention, if you do watch on YouTube, I would recommend turn on the YouTube notifications. That is another good way to find out when we're live. If you're on YouTube, what you need to do to turn on the notifications is you need to subscribe to the channel and then click the bell and choose all notifications. Subscribe, click the bell, and choose all notifications. And then you'll have the YouTube notifications. I also want to shout out our Twitch subscribers like Wall Street and Shaggy and Gonzalez and Seed Music, My Crystal Clear Life, Strong One, Barcodable, Baby Duck. Thank you for subscribing. Naomi Rousseau, Gina Pina, and let's see here. Boba J. Fett, Charlie Underfoot, thanks for subscribing there. And did I say Wall Street and Shaggy? IDD Padge SR, thank you. And all of our other subscribers, LCS Fox, all of our other subscribers over there on Twitch, and our Facebook subscribers, thank you, like Susan Priest-Buchner, Krista McConnell-Gates, Julie Cantrell-Smith, Kay and Margaret, thanks for subscribing to. David Brazier, thanks for subscribing. Diane Allworth, Christy Claft, and all of our other Facebook subscribers, thank you. And our YouTube members like Patricia Grace, Bernard Tapey, the one and only, Gregory Scherer, Althea Thune, Shelby B., Paula Faust, Evelyn in Maine, Least Trustworthy Weasel, Sydney, VC Gamer, JK Cinar, Michael Avery, 407X, thanks for being members. All of our members there. Storm Laughter, Karen Margaret, Schindler, did I get that right? Schindler, Deadwing, Sparky the Human, and JD63, thank you, and Thomas P0419, and also Roger Shoemaker, Cogito, thank you Cogito for being a member, and Copan Electron, Vigilante, Sinead, Fatima, VC Gamer, Smooth, thank you, Lar4, and all of our other JK Cinar, Least Trustworthy Weasel, and all of our other members over there. Thank you so much. All right, I got to wrap this up. I got to go to this thing, but I will be keeping an eye on what's going on, and maybe we can do more coverage tonight. But I'm going to this again, this event at this online news association conference, which I am going to try to, for the benefit of the channel. It's for the good of the channel. All right. So let me go to this. And who knows? Maybe we can do some more coverage tonight. And that's it for now. So thanks for watching. We'll see you soon with more live breaking news coverage right here at Agenda Free TV.